How important is it that they separate themselves from the outside world through this process?
It's an ancient tradition for literally thousands of years. It used to be they weren't allowed to come out of the conclave until they had a pope. They had to sleep in there. They had to have food, kind of slide in, open the door briefly, and bring it in. So it's a little different now, where they can leave after the day. But the idea of being cut off from the rest of the world, no distractions, a moment of prayer, a moment of reflection and discernment, so they can be completely focused on the matter at hand.
This is taking place on a day where we see a conflict beginning between India and Pakistan. We have a war ongoing in Ukraine following the Russian invasion. Just how big of a responsibility will it be on the new pope once these cardinals make their selection?
Absolutely. I mean, it's huge. The cardinals from those parts of the world where these conflicts have just begun or been continuing for months or years are present. They will be in the Sistine Chapel. And one of the last messages that the cardinals issued from the general congregation yesterday was to pray for peace with India and Pakistan, other places of conflict in the world. So it's weighing very heavily on their minds, no doubt.
Walk through again here what we're seeing in this moment, if you could, for us, Neil.
And this is a sacred procession. And again, what we hear in the background is the litany of the saints. And so they're asking for the intercession of the saints to assist them as they move into this period of conclave. So it's really just praying to the saints, the holy men and women who were examples for all of us to follow, whether it's St. Matthew, St. Cecilia, St. David, whomever. They are holy men and women that will help guide the cardinals in this important task they have ahead.
This is real life. This is history before our eyes. Many have found a new interest in the conclave following a theatrical production. Now, how similar was that to what we're seeing? Perhaps, where they sit down and they eat and they share their meals and the discussions and how they interact together through these next days?
Yeah, I think one of the things that the movie did well was the research they did on the process of the conclave itself and how it's carried out. These kind of moments, the prayerful moments, the procedures, a little bit of artistic license on some of the storylines, I would say, and probably the discussions are a little less heated than we saw in the movie. But the idea of them having these conversations is really important. I think one of the most important meals will be tonight after they have that first ballot and they see the names that have been nominated for Pope, if you will, or that the votes that have come in, and they will start to most likely see 5 or 6, let's say, people who are receiving a number of votes, the cardinals, and those will then become likely the preferred candidates, if you will, and most of those who get the 1 or 2 votes on the first ballot will kind of fall off.